Hand me the scalpel, the girl said patiently. The surgical implements were laid out in a neat row on a rolling table, on a piece of paper, along with a set of carved needles, already threaded, and a small kitchen-sized purpling torch. The creature on the table tried again to lift its leg, and suddenly Jessica understood how it was able to move. "They're still in there!" Jessica screamed. "The children! Michael!" The creature with painfully as if responding to her voice, and Jessica's heart wrenched. "They're in there, and they're in pain. I guess I should have kidnapped Marla if I want a nurse," the girl said sardonically. "I told you he wants you to watch. Look over here." Jessica obeyed, feeling her head to go light as the girl pressed the scalpel into Afton's skin. "Don't pass out." She drew the blade across his lower abdomen with steady, practiced hands, making a 6-inch incision. She held out the scalpel, and Jessica stared for a moment before realizing she was supposed to take it. "He wants you to watch. It's the only reason you're alive. If you don't watch, then there's no reason for you to be here. Do you understand?" Jessica steadied herself. "Breathe. Don't faint. Think about something else." "John, Charlie, no." I'll start crying. "Something else. Something else. Shoes, black boots, knee high. The kind that will look like riding boots. Italian leather." Jessica took the scalpel and sat it down where it had been, and the blood dripped onto the paper, seeping into the fibers. Jessica took another deep breath. The amateur girl had one of her hands inside the incision and was pulling it back, peering into the wound she had just made. "Scalpel," she said again, and Jessica picked up a new one and handed it to her. "Watch," the girl warned, and Jessica watched as she reached into the incision and cut out something inside. Jessica flinched. Shoes. Maroon clogs. Clunky heel, 3 inches. Patchwork stitching. The girl held out the scalpel, her hand still inside Evan's body. "Take it. Give me clamps." Jessica took the scalpel and replaced it. "Clamps?" she asked, starting to panic as she searched among the instruments. "They look like scissors, with teeth instead of blades." "Open them and hand them to me, and do it fast." "Shoes, jelly, sandals, purple, sparkly." Jessica grabbed the clamps and tried to open them, but they were stuck together, hooked into an old clasp at the top. "Hurry up, do you want him to die?" "Yes, I do." Jessica wanted to shout, but held her tongue. She pinched the scissors handle together, and they came free. She handed them to the girl, relieved, and watched as she started to pointed into the opening and pinched whatever she had been holding, clamping it shut. She took her hand slowly out of the wound and looked at Jessica. "You have to be faster. Scalpel, then I'll need the clamps right away." Jessica nodded. Shoes, green suede kitten needles with a rhinestone strap at the ankle. She handed the girl the scalpel, then wrestled the clamps open as fast as she could and was holding them out by the time the bloody blade had returned to her. She watched dizzily as the amateur girl made another cut, severing something she could not see, and using the last set of clamps to hold it shut. The table behind them began to hiss more loudly, and the orange glow intensified. Jessica took a step sideways to get away from the heat. The glow spread to the creature on the table, and parts of it seemed to turn from side to side. "Hold out your hands," the girl said. "Platform sneakers, denim, hideouts." Jessica held out her hands for the clamps, but the girl left them in place. Instead, she held both hands onto Afton's open body and lifted out a bloody object. His kidney. That's his kidney. Black leather combat boots. Black leather combat boots. Charlie's black leather combat boots. The amateur girl held the kidney up in the air for a moment, and the blood dripped from it onto her face. Charlie's boots. Charlie. The girl turned to Jessica, and she shrank back. "Hold out your hands," the girl repeated with cold insistence, and Jessica obeyed, fighting not to reach out as the warm organ was placed gently in her hands. "It's meat. It's not part of a person. Just think of it as meat. Platform sneakers, cylinder boots, penny loafers." She watched in a daze as the girl took a carved needle and a black thread and began to sew William mapped them back together, starting with his innards and ended in the first incision, making a row of X's across the left half of his body, and last she finished, snipping the last sweat off with precise ease. What's next? Jessica asked, her voice sounding faint against the rushing in her ears. Yellow sneakers with a blue streak on the side. Those brown pumps Mom got me. Oh, Mom. The next part is easy, the girl said, pulling the gloves off and picking the kidney up again with her hand and approaching the table where the mask lay. What are you going to do? Jessica quivered. What do you think? What do you think all of this was for? The girl said softly. He told you, piece by piece. Jessica looked down at the creature on the table, glowing orange at its core and dripping fluid from its various parts. The drops landing with a hiss on the hot surface. This is a transplant, she said. The mass of male parts for a moment looked human, its demeanor suddenly childlike as it squirmed, and its head turned to face Jessica. For just a moment, Jessica thought she could make out eyes looking back at her. Suddenly, the silence was broken as the animatronic girl clenched her fist around the kidney and slammed it against the creature's chest, pressuring so hard that the metal underneath sank inward, embedding the kidney deep inside where it gurgled and hissed. More fluid seeped into the sides of the creature, and it burned it into the table as the girl wrenched it back and forth inside. She pulled her hand from the cavity she had created. Her hand charred black and rested it at her table, extending and retracting her fingers as though making sure they were still working. Now we are done, she said. She brushed past Jessica and went to the cabinet and emerged with a long needle. She strode purposefully to William Afton's side, stopped with her fist raised over her head, then brought the needle down, plunging it into his chest. A second passed, then he heaved into an enormous breath and groaned. The girl pulled the needle from his chest and set it gently in the table beside him. William Afton opened his eyes and his single eyeball moved back and forth between Jessica and the animatronic girl. Is it done? He asked. Jessica screamed. The intensity of it rose from her and her daze, and then she screamed again, letting the sound drown out everything else. Her throat went raw, but she screamed again, clinging to the roar of her own voice. For an instant, she felt like she kept screaming nothing worse that could happen. The air around the girl shimmered, and Jessica's vision blurred in front of her. Something was moving. In a moment, her eyes cleared, and Charlie was standing in front of her. Jessica, don't worry, you can trust me, Charlie said cheerfully. Right now. And for updates, or really it's just one update for Prequel 5. It is around 2 minutes and 45 seconds. So it's almost to nearly done. When it reaches like 3 minutes, is nearly done. So, yes, I am still working on it. This is like its second day that it's being worked on. It might get finished tomorrow and be released later tomorrow. So, yeah, keep an eye out for that one.